Shut up and sit down.
Howdy and salutations, welcome to Broken Table Commentary, a three-man creative debate podcast all about the greatest of fake sports, professional wrestling. Every week we each bring a different topic to the table. The topics can be ridiculous or serious, opinion or factual, creative or not, whatever we feel like, and as always, the topics for this week are in the description. On commentary we have our Mark, the debonair diabetic dad, Lenton.
Dab on him.
Our historian, the Scottish Grumpelstiltskin, Michael, who is sick. So he ain't here, and Mr. Scrooge isn't here either. It's just, well, you'll see why in a minute. And our critic, me, Jessel. You can follow us on SoundCloud, YouTube, and Facebook as Broken Table Commentary, or directly at BrokenTableCommentary.com. New episodes are broadcast every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is episode number 8, Operating Table. Crash, bang, lightning, boom. Because it's like Dr. Frankenstein. It's an operating table. That's going to be one of the topics. But also, this is going to be a no edits episode because we have no Michael, and that'll make my life easy. Or we'll go too long, and I'll edit this part out. We're going to be cobbling together new wrestlers, new WWE schedules, and talk about the best and potentially scariest of big men in wrestling. And we are unfortunately, like I said, down Michael, because he is a sicky boy. And now, Michael's always sick. Like, that's just a fact. But today, he has, like, an asthma ghost stealing all of his breath away, so he can't even talk. But every now and again, he might pipe in with some text at me, and I'll share it. But we do have all his answers to today's questions, so we should be fine.
I didn't even know he had asthma. I just thought he had some weird Scottish thing.
Oh yeah, it's weird Scottish asthma. It's very
It's
different.
a ghost if it's in Scotland.
Yeah, it is. It is actually a ghost of a rock that attaches yourself to your chest and just sits there and makes it hard for you to breathe. And you can't get rid of that ghost rock.
You can't.
Scotland's filled with ghosts. I like this stereotype.
That's a good joke.
The Scottish are incredibly frugal, and there's so many ghosts. Those are the two stereotypes you need to know about Scotland.
And Michael's not here to defend himself and be like, that's not true.
Oh, you know he wouldn't say that's not true. He always follows the rule of don't deny. He will always say, yup, that's actually accurate. Every time. Unless we said, like, Mr. Perfect wasn't perfect.
Oh, we should say it since he's not here.
Well, we're going to talk about Mr. Perfect later, because even though Michael isn't here, he sure is here in spirit, as he wrote down Mr. Perfect at least once in his 3 answers.
Oh, gosh.
But before we get into our topics, including maybe a special bonus topic that Lenny is unprepared
Not
for.
at all.
Do you have any news you want to go over? Because this week's been a pretty dull WWE week. They're on tape delay. They went to the good old land of Ingalls.
I would say the only newsworthy thing that came out this week is Raw had its lowest viewership rating of the entire year this week in Monday Night Raw. So I'm wondering if
I think it's a record low on top
do
of
you
that.
think this is the worst Raw has been all year?
The problem is, what I think of as terrible isn't actually, like, the worst. What I hate is homogeny. I hate when it's the same all the time. And that's the problem with Raw. Raw has become this homogenous glob where everything's always the same people fight each other over and over again, the matches never matter. They've done... One of the feuds that we're supposed to be having is Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe, and they just had that match on Raw. If that's going to be one of your pay-per-view feuds, you don't let them have matches.
And it was
you keep them apart from each other.
It was a lengthy match too. It went a commercial break.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then Ambrose Miz we had earlier this year on SmackDown for quite a while.
We're never gonna be done with Roman Reigns continually getting a one-up on Braun Strowman. Every time Braun almost looks like really great, like he could finally bust into the main event, then Roman says, nah, boy. Nah, get down. This is my yard.
And that injury is a legit injury, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yes, Braun Strowman is legit injured, which is why they did the what I called last week, Roman getting his heat back. They were like, oh, well, everything's screwed up because Braun Strowman and Roman are supposed to have an ambulance match, and Roman's going to be out for maximum 2 months, but that could kill 2 pay-per-views, including the originally proposed backstage. This is hearsay, so take for what it's worth. Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar at Great Balls of Fire. But if that's the case, Braun was probably losing that match. So I'd rather him not be in that match if his plan was to lose, because I want Braun to just wallop on Brock, personally. I just looked it up. The 2.68 million viewership for Raw is a new 20-year low for a roster that had no football competition or took place on a holiday. Though they did have NBA playoffs. So take a little bit in credit, but 2.68 was a 20-year low.
That is, I didn't realize it was that bad. I certainly wouldn't say it's the worst it's been in 20 years, but it is. Yeah, I would say it's the worst it's been this year. I was not even planning on watching this episode. I was just going to check the results. But usually for the London shows, they're a little bit better when they go over across the pond, as they like to say. Though this one was not. It was not anything special for being a
just more
London
the
show.
same old,
the crowd
same old.
Started out pretty hot, and they felt like that special crowd. But then, man, by the end, they did not make it through that 3 hours.
SmackDown was good, though.
SmackDown was very good this week.
But SmackDown has always had good TV. It's their pay-per-views that they don't quite ever get right for some reason. I don't know why. I'm hoping that Backlash is going to be great, though. On top of the injury train, let's go ahead and talk about poor Emma, because, man, she does not catch a break. She got injured her shoulder, and she got sent home from the European tour. I hate it. I love Emma so much, and she is TNA bound.
I would give credit to WWE, though. When Emma is back from injuries, they put her right back in there, though. They try with her. So I'm hoping that when she's feeling better.
I don't know if putting her against Dana Brooke is trying, and then not having her on TV for 2 weeks. I don't know if that counts as trying.
Considering what they've done to lots of other wrestlers who are injury prone, I would say that it is trying. They could easily put her on main event and not even show her on TV. Putting her in a feud with somebody who we both agree could be a top babyface in Dana Brooke, I think is absolutely trying.
And let's continue this injury train going. Ember Moon, Ember Moon, who is going to be in the TakeOver Chicago Fatal 4-Way for Asuka's NXT Championship, has injured her shoulder. What's the word? Say the word.
Shoulder.
Thank you. Severely. She is not going to make it to TakeOver Chicago, which I think is only good for her, personally. I mean, injuries suck. They're never fun, but I do not think that she's ready. I don't think she's there. And she's been slowly taking everything great about her character and dropping it to make her be more human and relatable. But this is wrestling. We had a literal Undertaker as a character for 20-some-odd years.
Who died and came back multiple times throughout these 20 years.
Yeah. The fact that it made me so mad when for that Battle Royal, Ember Moon came out without her contacts. She doesn't do her contacts anymore. One of the most distinctive features of Ember Moon, she's not wearing those anymore.
I wonder if that was whose choice that was.
Considering that the promo she gave after she lost to Asuka in the one-on-one was about her breaking character and walking through an empty arena and going, I deserve better, I can do this, blah 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 nonsense that's not what this dominant, cool, mystical-esque Buffy-inspired werewolf girl babyface. She should be a badass, and instead she looks like a meek, not to be sexist, but a meek little girl who, I lost once, now I can't wear my special makeup or feel cool. Man. And then she gets injured. I think it's good for her. I think that what they needed to have done was she lost and she took time off from TV entirely. but now she's forced to do that. Though it does raise the question, Ember Moon was probably taking that title off Asuka at Chicago. That ain't happening anymore. You think they still keep it on Asuka?
Yeah, I think they keep it on Asuka until after the women's tournament creates a new big star that can go in there and challenge her, I would say. I don't think Asuka loses it until they hire a new girl to come in. It's my prediction officially.
I would like to see some kind of shenanigan thing where we get maybe Nikki and Ruby both pin Asuka. So we don't have a winner, but Asuka definitely lost. So everything's up for grabs, and we have gimmick stipulation, women's ladder match, triple threat, that kind of thing. I think that'd be a great way to finish the... Asuka has now surpassed Goldberg's undefeated streak. So if we mention that, then we're good. So Asuka has made her place in history as soon as commentary mentions that one time. They've yet to mention it, but as soon as they mention it once, Asuka's made her way in WWE history. So that's what I'd like to see, but that's fantasy booking. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to take the title off Asuka anytime soon. I don't know if it's going to be... I think Ember Moon is there. They've picked Ember Moon, just like they picked Bayley. They're like, Bayley's going to be our babyface champ, and they forced that to be the case. I'm pretty sure that they were like, oh, Ember Moon's going to be our girl. So now she has to come back from injury, and then she'll get it. We'll see.
When is the NXT Chicago?
I don't know. I'll look it up. But beyond that, let's move in our first. Oh wait, no, hold on. You got a thing. I got a thing to talk about
while you're looking that up. We will begin your chance to enter into our first ever Broken Table Commentary gift card giveaway. Oh, look at that! It just came up with a name. The gift card giveaway. That sounds nice. Over the next 4 weeks, you will hear a secret word at some point during the episode. It's important that you collect all 4 secret words, and then you can either let us know through email or Facebook, or honestly, I don't care if you just let us know personally, me, Jessel, or Michael, what all the 4 secret words are at the end of the 4 secret words, and you will be entered to win the $30 or more, since we extended how long the entrant process will be. I might be able to make it a bigger gift card. I'm not sure. It will definitely be $30 at least, but you'll want to be able to collect all 4 words over the next 4 weeks. So you got to listen completely to all 4 episodes, or find a friend who knows the 4 words and steal it from them if you want to be a dick. And let us know what they are at the end of this month, and you can win a gift card.
Yep, the 4 words should be obvious because I'll be editing something in to make it very clear.
Oh, you said you weren't going to edit this episode at all.
Well, I have to put in the topic bells anyway. I'm not going to take out all the ums and ahs and whatever, except I probably might because I hate hearing all the tongue clicks and all that. But we'll see.
Let's just not use our tongues for the rest of the episode.
Topic number 1. Now, I named this episode Operating Table, because I name all the episodes, because I'm the only one who cares about naming all the episodes after tables. But luckily, my wonderful wife, when I came up with this idea 3 months ago, the very first suggestion she had, I took and made better. Not better, just different. But the idea is we're going to Frankenstein-a-Wrestler. Mash up 2 wrestlers to make one new one. One provides the body and moveset, and the other provides the head, gimmick, and promo abilities. And that is our Frankenstein-Wrestler.
So what part of this did your wife come up with?
She just said mash up 2 wrestlers, and that's the end of it, but I made it Frankenstein.
Gotcha.
I think her idea was have John Cena, but then he does all of the Miz's shtick, and that's the end of it. But I went the step further.
Which made it a step more difficult.
That's true. Oh, also, NXT TakeOver Chicago will be on the 20th of this month.
Ooh, that's coming up.
That's 10 days. Should be the day before Backlash. So, who wants to go first? You, me, or Michael?
Let's make Michael go first since he hasn't said
Got
anything.
it. All right. Well, Michael's answer, if you know Michael, should be pretty obvious.
Mr.
His body
Mr. Perfect.
is Mr. Perfect. That's correct. Great technical skills, but the problem that Mr. Perfect always had was while he did filmed vignettes well and was okay, like on commentary, he never really had that. He wasn't that expressive emotionally in the ring. Essentially, he's not a great actor. He delivers okay promos, but when you put him against the greatest promos of that time, he didn't shine. So we need somebody who does great promos. So Michael gave him the head of The Rock. That's right, this is Mr. Rock. He's the most perfect man in sports entertainment history. Can you smell what Mr. Rock is cooking? And then he sinks a backwards three-pointer basketball shot.
So does he specify if this is a 90s Rock's head or...
He did not specify. I assume it is 2000.
Okay. Because The Rock looks vastly different throughout the years. Once he shaves, he looks like a turtle nowadays.
I'm not going to be able to watch Baywatch the same way now. I'm going to look at him and think a big muscular turtle. He does look like one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the new movie.
Not that that's a bad thing. They're very handsome.
But yeah, it's Mr. Rock, because I also said that you have to smash their names together, because, you know, that's what you do when you smash two people together. You smash their names. It's like Brangelina.
Which is very dumb, and I don't like that.
Tough.
All right, I'll go next. Okay, well, mine is not great. I knew all along that I wanted the Ultimate Warrior's head and the Ultimate Warrior's gimmick, because that was always the best part about the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay, I like Ultimate Warrior.
He's known for his moveset not being the best, and his stamina in the ring not being the greatest, and his matches not being the best.
It's true. His brain always went harder than his body would let him, but he looked good.
So, then I started thinking about somebody currently who I think has really good matches, but obviously their character has gotten stale, and I decided that I would put the Ultimate Warrior's head onto Charlotte Flair's body. Now, I think...
Why would you do that?
I think the Ultimate Warrior...
Would you do that to her?
Ultimate Warrior with the face paint on, he looks feminine enough.
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior's a kind of pretty
And
dude.
Charlotte's body
I
is
get that.
masculine enough.
And Charlotte Flair does have a masculine-ish female
And we've
body.
never had, or at least we've never had a female wrestler at the extremes of someone like the Ultimate Warrior that wears all the face paint and runs out and has that amount of height to her. We've never had a female wrestler of that character. I really want to do Charlotte with Scott Steiner's head because the big Papa Pump, but that would not work because of the beard. But I think Ultimate Warrior character that's a female and is really tough and a really good wrestler would be a really great character.
He's got the feathered Farrah Fawcett hair. That's generally considered feminine hair.
I was trying to decide between Charlotte's body and moves and Caitlyn's body and moves, and Caitlyn's moves do not stack up against Charlotte's.
No, Caitlyn does not.
So,
Celeste Bonin's face. That's a good one to use her head, because I always liked her character.
So that's my Ultimate Warrior gimmick.
So is she Charlotte Warrior or is she Ultimate
Flair, baby? It's a great name.
Ultimate
Flair.
Flair.
A great name.
Woo!
This is a very fun challenge, though. I liked it a lot.
I like this one. All right. Well, this one's mine. First off, I picked a wrestler who I think was used correctly in 2 out of 3 of the big American companies. Problem is, the only company that survived used him terribly. And that's Dean Malenko. He's an incredible in-ring worker, and for whatever reason, Vince McMahon doesn't get the idea that people can be emotionless but still have charisma, like Lance Storm or Dean Malenko. He didn't know how to use them at all, but WCW proved with the Iceman Dean Malenko, and then he joined the Four Horsemen and the Man of 1,000 Holds, that Dean Malenko knew what he was doing, and he had a great character. Same with Lance Storm, like I talked about last week. So the WWE didn't know how to use him, so we need his body. Vince McMahon just chops off Dean Malenko's head. So now we need to find a wrestler who had a great promo and a great gimmick, but just couldn't go in the ring. And I actually went and looked for somebody who actually did promos, but never wrestled because he was so green. And I actually found it, and I'm kind of in love with this idea, but I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. That's my hint. That was the catchphrase.
Okay.
This is Sean O'Hare's Devil's Advocate gimmick. Do you remember this? Do you remember this stuff?
That was
for 2 months.
2003, right? Yeah.
For 2 months, Sean O'Hare gave these Devil's Advocate gimmicks. They're super fun. Check them out on YouTube. They're all up there. But essentially, he would go on and he'd talk about religion. Then he'd just say what the average person's like. Look, if God exists, then he doesn't care if you go to church. He's God. All that kind of stuff. Oh, food. Look, food tastes good in its nourishment. Eat what you want to eat. That kind of thing. It's just him tempting the one about cheating, making it okay for husbands to cheat. Because if you're cheating on someone, that just means you care about them even more. You care about them enough that when they aren't fulfilling you physically, then you're getting it somewhere else because you love that relationship. Like, it's so good. It's so evil. He had such crazy hair. Sean O'Hare was on the fast track to be an Evolution instead of Batista.
Yeah.
Problem is, he was stupid green. He could not wrestle at all. I don't know. When you watched him in WCW, they kept him in tag matches so that it was safe because he did power moves and tag moves. That guy could not wrestle a singles match. And he never had the chance. He was part of the Invasion, did a little bit, and then they left him to the side. So I want to take his head and that Devil's Advocate gimmick, put it on Dean Malenko's body. So we have now created Cino-Lenko, the Devil's Advocate of 1,000 Holds.
That's a good one.
But I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
I like that.
Yeah. I like that one.
They paired him with Rowdy Piper for a while there too to try and get him.
They really tried. Sean O'Hare was a guy they thought they could really make something of, and it just never happened. Which I feel bad for him because, man, that gimmick is so good. And the problem is they started showing him. So since they showed him, they can't do it anymore. If those promos never aired, then that gimmick could have been saved for somebody else.
I would think most people don't remember it.
Yeah, but at this point, I think we've moved away from good characters, and now everyone just has to be themselves, but a little bit amped.
Everybody's just the guy. I'm just a guy.
Yeah, everyone's just, oh, my real name is this, and I wrestle.
Although Sami Zayn's character, I'm really enjoying. His little promo with Orton and AJ.
Character? He doesn't have a character.
He was being super adorable last night backstage with Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Did you not see that segment?
No, I think he's doing fine. I'm just arguing he doesn't have a character.
No,
I was character any longer unless you're Shinsuke fucking Nakamura.
I was agreeing that character in WWE is just now yourself, just amped up a little bit, and I was saying that his version of him amped up.
No, he did a good job.
I'm enjoying very much.
I agree. Sami Zayn, he moved to SmackDown and he's still losing, but it's being written differently and it's written better, so it's working for me. Actually, that's a great segue into our second topic.
Is that going to be me?
Which was Lenny's topic.
Oh, okay. We didn't decide whose order we're going in, so my topic today is you have 9 hours max of WWE programming a week that you have to spread out between all 5 shows. So that is Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, and Main Event. Currently, these...
I think Superstars is still a show too, by the way.
Well, forget that. Currently, they are 8 hours. So I've added an hour if you would like to, if the three of us would like to use it. But you don't have to use all 9. You can use just however much you would like, but you have to spread it out between these 5 shows. So how is everyone going to choose to do that, Jessel?
Okay, well, this task was very hard for me.
Yeah.
The biggest one being that by the letter of the topic, I thought you could only shuffle around hours. I didn't think I could lose any. So then I tried to be on top of that. You can't create a new show. You can't. We couldn't change a show's gimmick. We couldn't. We just had to. It just had to be change the hours. So that made it even harder. So my thought process was, first off, let's do the stuff that's not filmed live, the stuff that's taped. That's NXT. I think NXT has to stay at an hour. I think if it gets any more, it dilutes the magic of that show. NXT already works incredibly well. You don't need to fix something that ain't broken. Limitation breeds creativity, so NXT does a great job with that. Now we move to the other stuff that's filmed live. Now I finally went to a live show. I've been to like 3 now, and all of them are basically the same. They're about 4.5 hours with an intermission. Raw and SmackDown tapings don't have intermissions, but essentially it's about 4.5 hours. So that's a 2-hour show, post-match, post-show stuff, pre-show, dark matches, and then a 1-hour extra, except Raw's 3 hours. I think it logistically makes a lot of sense to film the same amount of stuff on every time. It makes sense from a money standpoint. It makes sense from a crew standpoint. So that would mean that I'd want to have that same amount of hourage filmed every Monday and Tuesday. So Raw, I want to go at 2 hours. Let's go back to the shorter format. Most of the time, we just have repeat matches anyway. The Enzo and Big Cass versus the Club for the 8 millionth time. Seeing Seth fight Samoa Joe, and we don't need to see that. We don't need to do, like, they're just having matches to have matches. Matches don't have meaning. Or even worse, we just have promos that have promos that eventually leads to a match. It's bad. So let's limit our time. SmackDown works perfectly on 2 hours, so let's cut Raw to 2 hours. SmackDown works perfectly at 2 hours, so let's not change it. So that's 2 hours each. After SmackDown is filmed, we have an hour of 205 Live. Once again, if we had more than an hour, Raw already has some Cruiserweight action on it. But now, without that happening, with the Raw superstars no longer, or the Cruiserweights no longer really showing up on Raw, or if they do, they show up very little. And I would have them interact with other people, by the way, but that's a question for another day. That gives the SmackDown side a third hour of filming, because they have 205 Live. Then you have main event, superstars, whatever it's called. An hour of content for that, taken from 30 minutes from each show. That works, whatever. You know, it doesn't need to be more than that. Now, the problem is, Tuesday has an extra hour over Raw, and that defeats my whole purpose of keeping things even, because for logic purposes. We can't add a show, so I don't know. If they put the UK stuff on Raw, then that would lose its magic because they want to film the UK stuff in the UK. So I don't know. So I don't like it, but I went ahead and gave Raw its third hour back. Because my problem with Raw isn't the hourage. My problem with Raw is the writing. So taking an hour away would fix it, but it doesn't really change the writing. In a perfect world, Raw would be 2 hours, SmackDown would be 2 hours. There would be another new show filmed at the end of Raw, and then main event would be mixed up from bits and pieces from both shows. That's what my perfect world would be. But there's not a show for that. So logically, I decided to give it its third hour back. So that's how we got it. NXT at 1 hour, Raw at 3, SmackDown at 2, 205 Live at 1, main event at 1. I think that's a total 8 hours.
So you changed absolutely nothing.
because I changed nothing.
That was a very long answer.
Because the things I wanted to change, well, I wanted to walk you through my brain process. The stuff I wanted to change, we couldn't change. We could only fuck around with the hours. Yeah.
That is a very fun answer.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Michael's was easy. Cut an hour from Raw. Done.
That's it.
He hates 3-hour Raw sucks. If he has to use full 9 hours, make main event 3 hours.
Yeah, you don't have to use the full 9 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like that you thought about it so much. Your brain is. I like that your brain goes to such a production. That's really. But I certainly didn't think about it that much. I mean, you'd be good. I mean, that's good. You could put that to a lot of good, and I'm sure you have put it to a lot of good use and done good things with it. But I didn't think about it that much. Cut an hour from Raw, make it 2 hours. Everything you said is right. Who cares if you don't get the same amount of filming on both shows? If you can make Raw more entertaining. So 2 hours to Raw, 2 hours to SmackDown, 1 hour to 205 Live. I guess I would probably cut cruiserweights out of Raw. I think at this point people probably know them enough to where you don't need to show them on Raw. I guess that's
because they're on Raw pay-per-views. They need to have a presence. Is my thought process.
Yeah. And I guess that makes sense. I guess because currently they usually have 2 segments per Raw at this point. That seems to be the average.
I think it's 3, 2 matches in a backstage.
Okay. So you could still do 1 if you're on a 2-hour Raw. The roster would be bigger on Raw, so I don't know if you'd just change it to 2 hours, if you want to spread them out and send a couple of them to SmackDown. I guess you'd want to do that.
Well, honestly, it doesn't make any sense for 205 Live to be filmed after SmackDown. So just move that to being filmed after Raw.
And
that's what makes sense.
Well, then you have it going from 11 to 12 o'clock at night live.
No, you cut an hour from Raw and make that third hour be Cruiserweight hour.
Oh, so you cut the hour, so you may go from 8 to 10? Okay. Because when it was a 2-hour show, it was from 9 to 11, is why I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's weird to me. Raw always ends at 11. That'd be so weird if it ended at 10.
Well, it wouldn't. You then move to 205 Live, so it would end at 11.
That's true. Yeah, okay, cool.
But that wasn't one of the options. We weren't allowed to move anything. So, like I said, perfect world when you can move stuff around.
And then I would add, and I went back and forth if I would add an hour or a half an hour to NXT, and I decided on half an hour. I don't think that it's perfect the way it is. I think there's too many squash matches at this point for it only being a 1-hour show. And it's too often that, because the roster's pretty big, I think it's too often that you watch it and there's someone you really wanted to see and you don't even get to see them on the episode you watch. I feel that too often. And now that they started doing a lot of like the stuff they've been doing about Roderick Strong, and that takes up 10 minutes. I don't want to see that crap take up 10 minutes. I don't care about Roderick Strong. So the fact that Roderick Strong has taken up almost 30 minutes of time in the last couple episodes made me want to extend it to 30 minutes an episode. So I would make NXT at least 30 minutes longer. And it doesn't have to go the 30 minutes the whole time. Just to have that overrun possibility would make it better. Because you can fit 2 more matches, 2 more ring segments.
See, that was my thought process, but in the end, it was I like the squash matches. I think they do a good job, because since the way they film it is they do one huge filming technique, every batch of episodes, you see everyone. You see every person that they're currently working on at least once. So in 4 episodes, you get Cassius Ohno maybe in 1 or 2 of them. You get Bobby Roode in mostly all of them, but there's episodes he's not in. Asuka's in almost every, but not. That's how the championships work. Every episode focuses on a different title. It tends to be 2 episodes are on the main title, then 1 on the women and 1 on the tag team. I really like how it currently works. I think it's very smart, very old school. and I prefer that. But I get what you're saying, because I also couldn't give a single rat's ass about Roderick Strong having a baby.
And your way of doing it has obviously been the most successful way. So I guess my complaint of that their way of doing it, they should make it longer, is not a very good one, since they've had extremely good success with NXT thus far. So they don't really need to fix it. Just from, I personally would like to see it be longer. But I really like wrestling. So, and I really like NXT. So that's just me wanting to see things, I guess.
No, I understand. I definitely, I just want it to be good. I don't need it to be more. I just need it to be good.
But Roderick Strong isn't good.
No, Roderick Strong is not good. Somebody had to explain to me, because I never watched Roderick Strong stuff. I did not understand why they called him the Messiah, the Backbreaker. But they explained it to me. It's because his finisher used to be the Walls of Jericho. So he would crack out a bunch of backbreakers over the course of a match to build up to, kind of like when Alberto Del Rio would have every match be exactly the same. He'd kick you in the arm a billion times and put you in the arm breaker. Yeah. Same thing. It was he'd do a million backbreakers anywhere. All his counters were backbreakers, and then he'd put you in the Walls of Jericho. Well, the problem is Walls of Jericho, the WWE does not do repeated finishes. So, well, they try not to, except everybody has a sweet chin music. But whatever. Walls of Jericho that's Jericho's, so he couldn't do that. And their favorite move for him was a sick kick, so that's what his new finish is. So they introduced him as this Messiah, the Backbreaker, and he did maximum one backbreaker a match. I couldn't stand it. I hated that. If you're gonna let him be Backbreaker boy, break all the backs. Do it all the time.
Yeah, that wouldn't have.
Cruiserweights do more backbreakers, tilt-a-whirls, and backstabbers, and so on.
That wouldn't have bothered me at all to see him use the Walls and Jericho and do that. That would have been neat.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me either, but I think WWE mentality is finishers are part of the superstar, so you can't have a repeated finish. That's why when Dolph Ziggler uses the super kick to finish matches, it's not named, it's just a super kick. I think that's the mindset. Anyway, let's move on to topic number 3.
Three.
Now, this was Michael's, and funnily enough, this one could have been a Hall of Fame topic. I'm glad it's not, mind you, because it allowed me to be a little freer to bring up an honorable mention and stuff, but this could have been a Hall of Fame topic. Because I know I've been antsy to do another Hall of Fame soon, but we'll see. We'll see when it happens. But Michael's topic was, who are your 3 best wrestling big men in wrestling history and now? Now, his purpose in wording it that way was best is very subjective. So he wants to know just what your straight up, not critical thought, because I needed that, because I'm the critic. I try to think critically about everything. But this was really just who you think is the best, then and now, whatever. Now, I don't know how you want to do this, Lenny. Do you want me to go first? Do you want Michael to go first? Do you want to go first? What do you want?
Oh, we can let Michael go first.
All right. Well, Michael... his 3 are Big Van Vader, the Mastodon. Vader could go in the ring until Shawn Michaels screwed him over, and the Clique meddling made him look like a fool in WWF. But all his WCW matches with Sting and Foley, they were amazing. He had great matches with Taker in the WWF and some fun brawls with Austin, and he had a great presence. So that's Vader. His number 2 is Sid, Big Man Sid. If you want to talk about presence, Sid is presence. I bet you'll talk about him, though. Oh, that's me. That I'll do that. That was him telling me that he's sure I'll talk about Sid. And the number 3 is Boss Man. One of the total packages. He's a big man who go in the ring, talk on the mic, be face or heel, and he drew huge money when he faced Hulk Hogan and he faced Savage back in the day, and then he was a great mid-carder when he came back for the Attitude Era. The Big Show feud, he points out and laughs.
I can't believe he doesn't have Undertaker on his list.
I know, I was shocked.
That's crazy.
Too. He's an Undertaker mark in he didn't make his top 3. But honestly, I think it's because Undertaker, soured for him. That happened to me too. Like some guys, they lasted around too long, and when you average their whole career, it dropped them a little bit for me.
Oh man, but the Undertaker's got so much success. That's crazy.
So yeah, his are Vader, Sid, and Bossman.
I like it. I like all three of them. And I have one of those on my list.
Well, I'll go ahead and not spoil anything. Wait, no, I'll spoil something, and they're the exact same three I have. In fact, they are written in almost the exact same order. I just wrote mine alphabetically, and he wrote his anti-alphabetically. I wrote it Bossman, Sid, Vader, and he wrote it Vader, Sid, Bossman. For all the exact same reasons, these guys are the top. And I actually went through, I made a huge list of like the 10 guys that I thought were the best. I put Nash, I put Big Show, Undertaker, Kane, some modern guys currently. I put all of them in, and I watched a bunch of matches. Bam Bam Bigelow was so close.
Yeah.
But man, Bam Bam Bigelow has only one match I actually really like, and then I like him as a tag team guy. He had two. I liked his Survivor Series debut when he was on Hulk Hogan's team. I thought he actually looked pretty good, and that was pretty fun. It was neat to see a big man rolling around the ring like he did and selling for Andre and all that. I thought that worked. But other than that, Bam Bam just didn't quite get there for me. But Vader is incredible. His matches are so good. Bossman has had so many gimmicks and been so incredible, and fucking Sid does not get the credit he deserves. Ever. He is a four horseman. That's not something to be taken lightly. People who are four horsemen are generally considered to be some of the best. And I know that some of that is just storytelling, but Sid did so good. I'd never watched his Skyscrapers run when he and Dan Spivey were the Skyscrapers, and those were incredibly fun tag matches. I watched a Sid versus Sting. There's a great Sid versus Sting 1990 main event where he's part of the Four Horsemen at the time, but he's out by himself, and he and Sting have a really good match, except for old school trope of the bear hug. The bear hug just as lame. But there's nothing to be done about it. At the time, people did the bear hug. So beyond that one spot, the match was really fun and energetic and big. Sid bumps around like nobody's business for him. Sid doesn't have to bump. He's 6'8". He's enormous and so strong. But he always bumps and gives everything for whoever he's fighting. He makes who he's fighting look good. And that's incredible. That's Big Boss Man was the same way. But at a certain point, Sid and Sting are brawling on the outside of the ring, and then Arn Anderson and Ric Flair come out and start, like, they almost interfere, but the ref sees them, and he starts yelling at them, "Get out of here, blah, blah, blah," and as that happens, Sid and Sting brawl into the back, until you hear Tony Schiavone being upset. It's like, where's the cameraman? Where's the cameraman? But then, pretty quickly, Sid and Sting come back. They get in the ring. Sting goes for a splash. Sid catches him and pins him. 1, 2, 3. Sid beats Sting. Everyone's shocked. They're not cheering, though. It's hard to not cheer Sid. Is a thing I have very much learned. Because as much of a heel as Sid was, if the face he was against couldn't pull their weight, the crowd turned on that face. Almost always. It was shocking how often that happened to me. They did it to Goldberg. They did it to Hogan. They've done it to so many people. Anyway, regardless. So, fireworks are going off. They drop balloons. They treat it like this big deal. And then suddenly the ref realizes that's not Sting. And then Sting comes out from the back with a rope around his wrists. The Four Horsemen had tied him up. And the other Four Horsemen had dressed like Sting so that Sid could pin him. So Sting gets in the match. The ref signals that the match didn't end, and Sting just rolls up Sid. 1, 2, 3. As the celebration is still happening, so that Sting never lost. It's so good. It's so smart. It's shocking and then not shocking. It's a dusty finish without being one. It's great.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely watch it if you haven't, Lenny. It's good. But yeah, Sid is underrated and is amazing. He is. The more I learn about him, the more I stop being a mark and I start just being, no, this guy legitimately is great, and I don't understand why people didn't get behind him. So yeah, Sid's wonderful. But I do have an honorable mention I'd like to talk about.
Throw it at me, big boy.
Mil Muertes. Now, Mil Muertes is one of the two big monster heels on Lucha Underground. He is incredible. He is Ricky Banderas in AAA, or Messias. He did TNA. He did TNA as Judas Messias.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's the same guy. And he's really good. He wrestles a monster style, a big man style, and he has some pretty darn good matches. I watched a dream match, a AAA dream match between Messias and Sting when TNA was doing their TNA was infiltrating AAA. That match wasn't as good as it probably should have been, but that's because Sting had already been beyond the point where he was amazing. It's like, at that point he had gone to Heath Ledger Sting, so he's already on his downturn. His career had already, his in-ring ability was already down. But Mil Muertes is incredible. And he almost made my list because I wanted somebody who looked towards the future. Like Braun Strowman almost made the list for the same reason, because I wanted to look for the future great big man. And then I learned that Mil Muertes is 6'2". His big man-ness is all presence. Because that dude is too short to be a big man, but he feels like he's an enormous dude. But I went back and watched some Lucha Underground, and like Johnny Mundo's like an inch taller than him.
That's hilarious.
And I never. It's that weird thing where a guy's stature and character feels bigger than they are. Like, go back and watch this last WrestleMania to see John Cena and The Miz stand face to face. I think The Miz is like half an inch taller.
Yeah,
than
I
Cena.
noticed that.
I never thought The Miz was that big. I always thought The Miz was Daniel Bryan's size, but no, he's bigger than Cena. So Mil Muertes is a huge honorable mention because his matches are so brutal, and he's such an awesome big man. I want to see him face Brock Lesnar until I remember that Mil Muertes is 6'2", and I don't think the WWE will ever characterize him like the big man that he wrestles like. It reminds me of Sheamus. Sheamus does the same thing, because he's actually not that tall either. He just decided that he's a big man monster wrestler, and that's what he does. I read an interview with somebody who was mad at Sheamus for working at FCW about it, but I don't remember who. But they were just like, Sheamus always acted like he was this big man. He would wrestle big man style, no-sell things, like Kane or like a big dude. Except he wasn't. I'm taller than him. I don't remember who gave the interview. Sheamus has now moved on to Irish strong style, which is a better fit for him than a big monster man anyway. But yeah, I really wanted to mention Mil Muertes.
I didn't even think about any of the Lucha dudes. I like that. All right, well, here's my three.
Is it Vader, Big Boss Man, and Sid?
Sid is on there.
Yay!
I'm going to go with my top three is my order. Number 3, I have pre-2002 Kevin Nash, because we all know that after 2002, Kevin Nash is absolute trash. Once he comes back for the new NWO angle and all his run and I don't know if you can call it a run in the WWE, but all the 2003 Triple H stuff and then the Triple H Sledgehammer ladder match. There are a lot of terrible memories after 2000.
Sledgehammer ladder match.
There are a lot of bad memories of Kevin Nash.
The Sledgehammer ladder match, if you guys don't understand this match, so this is Triple H versus Nash in a ladder match with a sledgehammer hanging above the ladder, and the first person to climb the ladder to get the sledgehammer can use the sledgehammer in the match. Well, the fucking problem is, in a ladder match, they are no DQ by default. So just grab another sledgehammer from somewhere else. And it's not like you win the match by getting the sledgehammer. You still win the match by pinfall. It was the worst match. It's so stupid. It's awful. Oh, it's terrible. It's almost House of Horrors.
You have to give a little bit more, if we're assuming people are new. The sledgehammer was Triple H's weapon his entire career. So the meaning behind it is the fact that Triple H's weapon that he always uses is hanging above. And Kevin Nash is trying to use Triple H's weapon against him. So it's not just a sledgehammer. It's Triple H's prize sledgehammer.
It's his prize.
It's still trash, but it was trying to be presented in a way of this is
his prize.
Well, that's how they presented it at the time. This was the sledgehammer. It wasn't.
Oh, I watched that pay-per-view. I don't remember
sledgehammer.
that at all. Oh,
I would not recommend rewatching it because it's not good.
Oh, all right.
But anyways,
sorry for interrupting you.
Everything before that, Kevin Nash was just wonderful. He always felt like a big deal. I know that backstage and stuff, Kevin Nash had some issues and he caused some drama and he was a little bitch baby in WCW and tried to control things. But that's not important now. Now what's important is looking back and being entertained. And I'm currently watching through the Nitros and I'm in 98 and Kevin Nash has been like involved in the main event throughout a couple years now, and they always feel like a big deal when Kevin Nash is in the matches, and he just has that presence and that ability about him that he makes the matches feel like they're a big deal, and that's an ability that he has always had. And he always made things feel special before 2002. Obviously, he was great in the NWO. He was great in WWE when he did the stuff with Shawn Michaels. That was one of his better things, in my opinion.
Big Daddy Cool.
Yeah, Diesel. I guess you can't call him Kevin Nash for that. So that's my number 3 is Kevin Nash. Number 2, I got Sid Vicious. That's my number 2.
Yeah, Sid.
I don't know what to say that hasn't already been said. I guess we haven't talked about how great he looks. For a huge big guy, his body, he just looks. His physique is fantastic. His face is fantastic.
He got big ramen hair.
His hair is fantastic. He's one of the best looking big guys too. Is the only thing I can add to it that hasn't already been said. He looks like he's a smaller dude that just got stretched out. He's great looking as well. And he wears. I always complain about bad guys, and I always complain about wrestlers just wearing black. That's like a thing that I always hate. But when Vicious does it, it feels cool, and it feels like bad.
Well, it's because he's got so much skin and so much ramen head that black isn't his main color. His main color is pink, and then the second main color is that yellow chicken noodle ramen head, and then it's the black. And sometimes he wore blue.
Yeah, every now and then.
Sid Justice wore that blue,
but rarely. And then number 1, I was stuck between. I originally had Kane as my number 1, but I went back and I watched. I have Kane's best of DVD. And I always have this problem with masked wrestlers, and it's that when they wrestle in matches, you can't see the emotion on their face, and it takes away from matches a lot of the time. And so I can't even have him on my top 3 because in the rare occasion that he's supposed to be looking like he's getting beat up when he's wearing the mask, and you can't see when a good wrestler is selling a move and you can't see their face, it really always bothers me. So unfortunately, I can't have Kane as my number 1 because that bothers me too much. Just a personal thing. So I have The Undertaker as my number 1 big man of all time. Yeah, he has kind of soured. He should have retired like 4 or 5 years ago. He should have double retired when Shawn Michaels retired, is what I would say. But he still has provided decades and decades of wonderful matches, and he started new gimmick matches and was involved in huge feuds and put over tons of talent. And I don't ever skip his matches on DVDs, and I want to show people his stuff. And I was actually scared of him when I was a kid. There are lots of things for The Undertaker, and he's a character. He's not just a dude, and I love that about stuff. Even now in the days of everybody being a dude, he never was. He was always The Undertaker. Even when he was the American Badass, he was still the American Badass, The Undertaker. He wasn't, what is his real name? Mark Calloway? Something like that.
Mark
Yeah.
Calloway.
So I got Undertaker as my number one big guy. So there's my 3.
Yeah. Well, if you guys have listened to previous episodes, you know I definitely don't agree with Nash.
Yep.
Nash, I think, was a lazy worker. He had presence, though. I can't argue with you on presence. He always made everything feel like a big deal. And I popped for him when he came to the Royal Rumble. Like, I still like the guy. He still got presence, but his matches don't hold up for me. And I actually disagree with you on Kane, too. Like, I actually think that he did a lot of great body work for wrestling. I like his mask, but I don't mind masked wrestlers. And you said that was personal. That was a personal hang up for you. So
He's my
that.
number. He's still
like,
my number 4 on the list because I love his matches. His matches are fantastic, but
oh yeah.
I don't think just the mask thing bothers me when I like to see people's facial reactions. And then when he doesn't have the mask, his matches just don't feel as good when he was unmasked. So
I know it's a weird catch-22. And Undertaker, give me as much heat as you want, but I've never liked the Undertaker. I haven't liked a single match. I don't like him. I don't like the way he wrestles. I don't like his look. I like his gimmick. Give it to somebody else. Give that to Kevin Nash.
Well, you didn't like my list then.
No, you had Sid.
I did have Sid.
And I get where you come from. I totally get it. Like those are personal, That's why that was the point of this question was it's personal.
Yeah, if my list was supposed to be who would be critically acclaimed the best big men, it would have been very different.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like that this wasn't Hall of Fame, because if it was Hall of Fame, I think all of us would have had a little bit different.
I guess, yeah.
If we did Hall of Fame big men, I actually don't know if mine would be different. But like I said, I watched like 20 hours of tape, and I'm always way overly critical. You heard me walk you through my process on hours for WWE. Yeah, I'm always overcritical. Well, now we have a special topic 4 that I didn't tell Lenny about. This is a new game that anyone can play. Now, Lenny, have you ever played the game Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Oh, yes, I have played that game.
Well, some people they aren't as open with their sexuality. So they have a hard time doing that with wrestlers because they just don't want to have sex with any of them. I've heard people try to play that game where fuck didn't actually mean that. It meant go on a date with
Lame.
and marry. Yeah, no, it's playing the game wrong. But I wanted to play this game, and I wanted to play it in a way that everyone could play. So I came up with a new version. It's called Pushberry Future Endeavor.
All right, hold on. Pushberry
Future Endeavored. Just like in FMK, I'm going to give you 3 wrestlers, and I'll answer 2. And you guys at home, I'd love to hear your answers as well. One of the 3 you have to push into the main event. They have to win the title ASAP.
Okay.
One of them you have to drop to the bottom of the card. And one of them you get out of the WWE.
Okay.
Push, Barry, Future Endeavored. You
Yep.
with me? All right. Now, Michael couldn't be here for this episode, but I did ask him to give me... I didn't tell him the actual rules of the game, but I asked him to give me groups of 3. So let's start with the easy one. The Shield. Push, Barry, Future Endeavored. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins.
I mean, I'm pushing Roman Reigns to that main event. That's what I'm doing.
That's fine.
They don't need me to do that. They're going to do that all by themselves. Well, shit, man. I don't want to.
But who are you going to bury, and who are you going to Future Endeavor?
I am going to bury Dean Ambrose because I believe that if he gets buried, I think he will work harder and he'll fix the things that I don't like about him. Because when I'm answering this question, when I answer bury, I think I don't have to bury them forever, right? Like if I bury them,
no.
I'm going to bury them because I believe.
Think of this like for the next year, they are pushed to the moon, buried to the bottom. Or
okay, so I'm going to bury the person that I think is slacking but has long-term potential. So I would bury Dean Ambrose, and I'd get rid of Seth Rollins. He's failed enough.
Nice. See, I would actually, I'd mix that around a little bit. I'd bury Roman, because I don't want to fire him. He has a great look. I think we need to kill this gimmick. I think this gimmick doesn't work. I think the big dog doesn't work. Suffering Succotash doesn't work. Ooga. I don't think any of it works. Roman has a great look, and honestly, he could be a good wrestler. He really could. Just what's currently going on just doesn't work. So let's bury him. Let's put him at the bottom of the card. Have him feud with Titus O'Neil, and Titus O'Neil win a couple times. Like let's really bury him for a while. But let's not fire him. I would push Seth Rollins, who's already technically pushed, but I think he's the one who has proven to be the most reliable main eventer. And let's get Dean Ambrose out of there. Dean Ambrose isn't doing anybody any good. He works super hard, and the WWE doesn't care. He wrestles more than anybody, and that doesn't matter. They still he's not happy. He met Renee Young, and they're wonderfully in love and married. And beyond that, whatever. So let's get him out of there. Let him go to Japan. Let him feud with Kenny Omega, destroy the Bullet Club from within. Let him do some great stuff over there. And then he comes back a bigger star. That'd be cool. Or never come back. That's fine. But I think that where he is currently, I don't think a gimmick change will fix him. And we've already seen that while he works very hard, he just doesn't draw money as well as the other two. So I can't push him. So I gotta bury him. Or I gotta future endeavor him. But that one's hard. So having done one round, Lenny, how do you feel? How do you like push, bury, future endeavor?
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right. I got a good handful more. So let's do some of these.
Throw them at me.
Bray Wyatt, Finn Balor, and Braun Strowman.
All right, let me
push, bury, future
Bray,
endeavor.
Finn, Braun. Push Braun into the main event title win. I think I absolutely agree with you when you said earlier this episode that, man, I'd like to see him crush Brock Lesnar and win that belt at Great Balls of Fire. Oh, Lordy, that would be beautiful. Damn, that's hard on this next part.
Yeah, it's hard.
I guess I'm gonna let go Bray Wyatt.
Future endeavor Bray, and that means Finn Balor. You're pushing to the bottom of the card.
Just because those,
bury
and
him.
I don't want to do it, but those are the rules. And Bray's ran his course. Unfortunately, I don't think they're getting much out of Bray Wyatt.
Yep. I would bury Braun, not because I don't like Braun, but because I want to push Finn Balor to the moon where he needs to be. I think he could be a top babyface, and I think Braun could be a top babyface. So let's put him all the way at the bottom. Kalisto beat him twice now, and Roman Reigns made him look a fool. So let's let him be on the bottom, because then the fans would turn behind him completely. So he'd be a real babyface, and not the babyface he is currently, even though the WWE doesn't treat him like one. And then he'd climb his way to the top, and I think that'd be good for him. So I'd bury Braun, push Finn Balor, and goodbye, Bray Wyatt. Na, hey.
We agreed.
Future
we
endeavor.
agreed on one.
All right, now how about these TNA alumnus? AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, and Samoa Joe. Push, bury, future endeavor.
Oh, man, that's a toughie.
I'll go ahead and go here. I would push Samoa Joe up to the top immediately. I think he deserves it. I think he can do it. I would future endeavor Bobby Roode, because as much as I love his run, his character's not the strongest, and his promo skills aren't the strongest, and his matches aren't the strongest of the three of them. So I would be fine with losing him the most, even though I don't want to. I'd be fine with losing him the most, and that means I got to bury AJ Styles. I got to throw him down on the bottom. So that's what I'd do.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same thing. AJ Styles could easily recover from being buried for a year. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah.
And Bobby Roode's fine, but I would not be as excited to see him in the main event as Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has definitely won me over.
Oh, I think your side of the call's going a little bad. But you know what? That's fine. We can let people see behind the veneer.
Next week we gotta pick a different word.
Of all the editing that's going on, you know?
Which everyone loves to do.
That'd be nice. Plus, you know, it lets us be more human. And that means I don't have to do as much editing. Which was always the goal with just two of us.
It probably is mine. Yours is more reliable.
I got a couple more rounds written down, but I only want to do one more. And then we can play this later, so if you guys like it, let us know, and we'll play more. But I got one more round of Pushberry Future Endeavor. Let's do the 4 horsewomen, minus the one that I'd fire immediately, so this isn't easy. Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha.
Okay. Pushing to the main event, Becky Lynch, title win. It's been far too long since she's been... Well, how long has it been? Not been that long. But either way, I like Becky as a champion.
Alexa Bliss kind of
wonderful.
became the main character for a while, so yeah, it's been a bit.
So I would love to see Becky back into that. I never get tired of Becky. Barry.
Amen.
Charlotte. I would bury Charlotte for a while just because I would be okay with firing Sasha Banks.
I understand.
I don't want to get rid of
man,
Charlotte.
what am I going to do here? You know what? I think I would end up... Oh, I don't want to fire Charlotte, but I think firing Charlotte... No, I'd have to fire Sasha. I'd have to Future Endeavor Sasha. I'd have to. I'd do the exact same thing you did. Like, I was thinking maybe she could mimic her dad and do some territory run. You know, Charlotte Flair goes to different places. Kind of like a Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre, where they took a year off or so and really ran about and really brought up their cred. Because, you know, Drew Mac is back and Cody Rhodes will be back at some point, I bet. I could see Charlotte doing that, racking up more title wins in other places, kind of like Cody's been doing. But I just don't want Charlotte out of the company. So I gotta say goodbye to Sasha.
Sorry, Sasha.
I'm really sorry, because I love Sasha, but you gotta fire one of them. That's what makes the game hard. So there we go. That is some special topic number 4. If you guys missed it, you shouldn't have. I edited in a whole little clip to let you know, but the secret word has been said. So if you missed it somehow, because, I don't know, you're driving and listening to this, or you didn't listen to this and I'm yelling at you for it, well, you need to go back to the beginning and listen again. But beyond that, we will see you guys later next week with Michael in tow for episode number 9. Which is that going to be the that's going to be the pre-Backlash one, right? Because Backlash is in less than 2 weeks, right?
Oh yeah, so we'll be doing Backlash predictions.
So we're going to talk Backlash predictions next week. So we'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Bye everybody.